Appreciate it, champ. Good,
Thank
good,
you guys
good.
for being
You two are too wholesome. Thank you.
Well, hit the gym sometime, Thor.
Absolutely, anytime,
There you
champ.
go.
Okay.
Anytime.
There you go. All right. Well, let's pull up the player cards.
My two
we
children!
Obviously have.
This is the moment. My two children are two children because you guys and me, we have been training both Hafu and Fintan during these weeks, both mentally and chess-wise, because I'm messaging them constantly. I'm trying to help as much as possible, and even like this, not both appreciate it equally. Someone wants to put me in a retirement home. I wonder why. No, but honestly, this is gonna be so difficult. I so don't know how this match will turn out. I'm rooting for both of them. I'm rooting for both of them to do their very best, and I wish both of them could win, but it's not possible. At the end of the day, one of them will be the winner of today's match. Hafu versus Fintan. Fintan, Hafu, Hafu, Fintan. Let me put up the picture. This is how I feel about today. My heart will be torn into two. My heart is about to be torn into two. Two brilliant students. Both of them have been working so hard. They are so dedicated, grinding constantly. They have had multiple coaching sessions with various coaches, not just me, but especially Hafu, who has been having training sessions with a lot of the PogChamps coaches. But Fintan too has been having coaching sessions with Anna too, that is Levi, and grinding constantly. Puzzles, games that they play on their phone in their spare time on stream. Fintan has been participating in tournaments of other streamers, including the other Anna. Anna Crumling was on my show earlier, the 4 Annas. Anna Crumling also gave coaching sessions to Fintan, and he participated in Anna's tournament, the viewer tournament. So lots of grinding, lots of hard work, lots of effort behind the scenes and on stream too. But only one of them can win. And this is a hard take. This is a hard take. 2 games, 1 with each color, and if it's a draw after the 2 games, if the match is a tie after 2 games, then we're gonna get to see an Armageddon. I have no idea what to expect, not even in terms of openings, because Fintan is saying that I've been coaching Hafu because she asked me directly about the Karakan, yet I told Hafu that I need to help them equally, and I shall also let Fintan know about what we learned. So Hafu was very upfront about that, yet yes, she knows we are playing with open cards. Fintan will see the preparation, he can see it, and I didn't prepare for any specific traps, tricks. I don't know what Levi showed Fintan in the Karakan, so I was just basically showing her a line that she can play against anyone that plays the Karakan. I know that Fintan was pulling my leg. I know that he doesn't say seriously what he said, but I really don't want to go to a retirement home. I just hope he feels better, because he did tell me when I was trying to help him too, that he wasn't feeling well the past 2 days. He wasn't feeling well. And that's the most important, health. You guys saw me struggling, and if he is not feeling too well, that can be an issue. Of course, this is not just about the chess tournaments. I hope that he is well in general. I hope that he's feeling fine. And let's check in with them, because I think they are here, about to start their match. Let's check in with Fintan and how he's feeling, because he wasn't well, unfortunately, and today too he's not feeling too well. But he's back in the disco.
The story has come real far.
Yes, you can do it, Fintan. Just feel good.
PogChamps game 2, here we
power
are.
To you and to Hafu,
Finty
to both of you.
Hafu chess. May the best player win.
Very good. May the best player win. Can I still chat?
Alright. Should be kicking off any second. Probably should get the right scene up. Would make a lot of sense. If we win this, we're playing for the trophy. Will we have a quick look in the trophy room? We treat ourselves? Oh, go on then. Our scoop trophy still hasn't arrived.
Can he still
Our scoop
see
trophy hasn't
the
still
chat?
arrived.
Oh my gosh! He's got the trophies, please.
That's the PogChamps trophy. As you can see in the Lions Player of the Year over there, still our most prized possession, but I think PogChamps might beat it if we get there.
So prepared.
Maybe.
Prepared. Let's check in with Hafu as well. Oh, my 2 months anniversary.
And I'm testing in the 2 months.
That's not a heart. I was trying to make a heart emoji. Oh, and it's starting. It's game on. Game on! It's game on. It's game on. Does Hafu realize that her clock is ticking? It's game on. Hafu, you need to make a move. Hafu, it's your go. Does she see? Does she see that it's her turn? The clock is running.
Oh, we started?
Oh, they gave back her time. Okay.
Oh my god, I didn't even know we started.
They gave back her time. That's, I think.
No one told me.
Or it restarted the game. They
didn't
restarted the
message
game
me.
probably.
Okay, that's normal. Now he does this, and I go here.
Okay, this is what we learned. This is what we learned. But Fintan should also know.
First we kick.
Fintan must have looked at Bishop G4. That's something I didn't teach to Hafu. I couldn't, as we didn't have time, but I did.
My heart is going.
I did tell her to check that too, and I did tell Fintan to check this too. I tried to help both of them equally. So they have the same amount of information.
Pretty sure we push.
Okay, from here on, I think neither of them are in preparation.
And then we take space. Right?
Go Fintan, go Hafu. Indeed. She wrote sweaty hands. She did say she gets super nervous and her hands show it too, but I don't think she's as nervous today, and I'm happy to see that because my preparation with Hafu was mainly focusing on the psychological part of the tournament because she feels like she's a heavy favorite. That's what everyone tells her. She has studied so much. She feels all that tension and pressure, the expectations. So I mainly was focusing on that side of the tournament and how to deal with it better because I really want her to perform as well as she can, but you cannot do your best if you are that nervous or that stressed or too much thinking of the result. So
Oh, I remember this.
I think neither of them are in theory anymore, but this is game on. This is game on. Let's listen to Fintan.
Kind of helps my development if I want, right?
Yeah, it looked like a French defense now without the bishop.
I'm actually not sure which one's better. I played this like 10 times now, and I can't remember which one I did more, which is pretty pathetic. But our whole idea wasn't to hopefully get into this situation. I didn't think Hafu was going to push the pawn in the center. Rafi, why wouldn't you support me a minute ago? Okay, so
oh, that cat is adorable.
This is going to start getting attacked, but I don't think that's a problem. Do we ever? I think we're just.
Is the audio fine like this, guys, or too low, too loud?
This and then get castled down. Everything seems fine.
I think they're doing great, both of them.
Right now, Arlo, shush. Okay, so we're probably going to get castled pretty soon. It's not going to be explosive and open, which I was hoping for, and hoping to unsettle our king or early doors. But I mean, we're black pieces and we're solid. This pawn is hanging.
Yeah, I think Fintan has gotten out of the opening very well. I think this is a good position.
I don't honestly know if I should take it straight away because I took a pawn that was hanging in the last game, and Danny told me I'd done it a little bit early. Okay, you're gonna have to give me that early. Okay, no.
Aww.
No. You can have it after the 2 games.
Thanks a lot for the
I
support,
like that happens in
everyone.
the tank because that means she probably hasn't been in this situation too many times before. The only thing is that it's not like super exciting for me.
I like the position, and I think
my king, which is
the issue can be. Let me pause the audio for a second. I'm just gonna open the game separately too. I think the issue for Hafu can be too that she likes these kind of positions from Black's perspective too. She plays the French defense, and this structure, the Caro-Kann, is like the French defense, but without that bishop that gets into trouble in the French defense. So in that sense, I think Hafu would like this position from Black's perspective too, because Black has that structure, the French defense structure, without the very poor, sad bishop on c8 that has been traded. So Fintan has gotten out of the opening really well. And now the pawn is hanging because he has just castled, unpinning the knight. Let's listen to Hafu and see what she says about that hanging pawn. Oh wait, has she just castled? Wait.
I always let this hang.
That is hanging. Will Fintan capture it? That pawn is hanging. He's thinking of it. He's thinking of it.
This isn't something I'm stepping into too early.
He's thinking of it.
Further develop.
He's winning a pawn. He did it. He took the hanging pawn. Fintan is a pawn up. A pawn in chess is not that big of an advantage, but it's a start. He has just captured the hanging pawn. E5 was hanging, everyone. E5 was hanging and has been captured.
Gone.
It's always hanging. E5.
This square is gone. This square is gone.
E5 was hanging. He's always hanging. I know. Hafu didn't learn from Magnus and Hikaru. E5 is always hanging.
I mean,
This is the one lesson she didn't take, that E5 is hanging.
You could just... I don't know. If we go in here, this pawn is only covered once. Does that matter right now? No.
Let's listen to Hafu and what she thinks about the position now without the pawn. It's not easy. It's still complex and White has the pair of bishops. So Hafu's position is really active. But she'll need to create even more compensation for that pawn. Hafu is the equivalent of Magnus Carlsen and indeed Giler and Garry Kasparov, as we learned. That's in the new video. Today's video is the coaching session with Hafu. That's a good move by Fintan. That's a good move because his knight was hanging. He protects it with the bishop and that bishop is useful on that diagonal. Bishop f4 is also a good response. They are both playing really well. They both are. Bishop f4. Let's see Fintan's perspective on that.
Well, I don't. Okay, so we can go here. That's not really that cool.
Okay, e5 is hanging again, but now it's a piece.
I don't think it's too early. I could just go here.
He has to be super careful. He can blunder a piece now.
Play this pawn. Like, I don't think this pawn.
You need to protect it. You need to protect it. E5 is hanging. E5 is hanging.
I'm not sure though. I'm not too sure.
E5 is hanging always.
And then he takes. We take with the queen.
The knight move is bad.
Knight takes. We're gonna end up losing a piece like that, right?
He realized if knight e7 he was gonna lose the piece, but he saw it, and so he moves the pawn, which is a good way to protect the knight.
Covering it with the queen, I don't think. I've obviously taken too long with some move because Hafu took ages on one of the moves, and I'm on the exact same level of time.
Let's see now what Hafu thinks. This was so close. Fintan was about to blunder a piece.
I don't think that's a good move.
Guys, stop challenging them when they are in a serious game. There's a way to turn it off, I think, but she doesn't have the setting for it.
Maybe it's stupid.
Not an easy position. Fintan found f6, which wasn't an easy move. He found it.
I think I just take it.
If she takes... Black could take back with the pawn and create a really strong center. It does, Kota, but it's better to weaken the e6 pawn than lose a piece. So what I'm saying, why I'm praising Fintan's move a lot, let me show you. I'm praising... Oh, I don't think bishop takes e5 is so good because now Hafu is giving up the pair of bishops, and if Fintan takes back with the pawn, that creates a very strong center and opens the f-file. He also may think to take back with the bishop, but then the e6 pawn will still be an issue. He does take with the bishop, more natural, but now if f4, he will have to step away with a check because the e6 pawn is hanging. I was praising f6 so much because Fintan was about to play this move, developing the knight, but then White can take the knight, queen takes, and he calculated it. This loses a piece. So instead of this, he played f6, and that's why it's a good move. He did not blunder a piece. Yeah, it does weaken the pawn, but saves the piece. He could have also played knight c6, which is better because now if you take with the knight, this is protected. In any case, this is already water under the bridge. This capture happened. And now queen g4. Hafu is attacking the e6 pawn. Let's listen in with Fintan.
So obviously this pawn's been attacked right now. But I just want to know, is there something going on here? We're just gonna go here for now. Oh no, Jesus Christ. That would have been quite embarrassing. Alright, so we're gonna do
a little bit of a heart attack there, but we managed to not
okay.
blunder the rook.
No dark squared bishop that I need to be concerned about for this shit that I always fall for.
Fintan is staying hydrated. Much respect indeed, Rantis, and thank you so much for gifted subs again.
Okay, that's okay for now. I thought that was a big error. But I don't even know why that'd be an error. I just taken my pawn. Time's pretty even. We're up 1 pawn. Nothing exactly exhilarating happening so far. I got 4-move checkmate, Han. No. No.
I've been watching it.
Aww, Hannah.
He's fine. Somebody wants to be friends. Not now. Okay. I think I'm just gonna shut this off with this. I don't know exactly.
Good
what's
thinking,
about to go
because
down,
that
but I
bishop
think
on
I'm just
d3
gonna
is
shut it off
super
with this.
strong. Fintan's
It seems
intuition is
fine.
good. This was a strong move
We
by
can then bring a
Hafu,
knight over and it can be part over here and then protect this square, right?
but
This
Fintan
seems
responds
fine
well.
to me.
He
So we just
responds
go
very
bang.
well.
Oh.
This
Bang.
game is super high level for knowing that they only just started out with chess. This is really high level. Let's listen in with Hafu. Do I have her stream? Is it frozen? Wait a second. She comes back with the queen to put pressure on the bishop. E5 is hanging again. E5 is hanging. E5 is hanging. And then the pawn behind it. Fintan needs to be careful where he places the bishop, because this is a pin too. Knight d7 is a good move because it does protect the bishop and develops the knight at the same time. Bishop b5 is yet another strong move. The bishop has been coming back and forth, but it's strong because she's threatening to take the knight, undermine the defense of the bishop. So she's about to eliminate the defender and then win the bishop. What will Fintan think about this? He's thinking of rook moves. He needs to realize that the bishop is the problem. That bishop.
I think this might get hard to defend. I'm not sure though.
Good idea to
I
get
could be
rid of the
wrong, but
bishop.
We're just gonna bring this over here now and then attack this pawn straight away.
Yeah, good move. Good move. Horsey go bye-bye. But it's good because that bishop was hanging constantly. E5 is always hanging.
This thing. I'm scared of the diagonals. Will I show you my rules real quick? The writing is really embarrassing, but we did write out some new rules for today after watching Hikaru go over them. If you can see here, it says, it's really hard to read even for me. Do notice diagonals. Do notice diagonals. Okay? Do notice en passant. Do win. Don't blunder. Don't get forked. Don't time out, and don't tunnel vision.
Don't tunnel
That's
vision.
where we're at
And
right
don't
now,
lose.
fam.
Wow.
That is where we are at. I don't know how strong these pawns are anymore.
Well, they have their weaknesses, but also Hafu's pawn structure has been
attacks the pawn and protects the pawn.
weakened a lot.
God damn it! This is gonna be hard to win if we do win.
And Fintan is a pawn up, so this is now difficult for Hafu. Let's listen in with her. She's attacking the e6 pawn. That's the target, but black can defend it and double rooks on the c5 to attack then the c3 pawn. This is a complex position, but Fintan is still a pawn up, and Hafu's pawn chain has been weakened on the queen side. We are so close to 40k. I can't believe it. We're so close to 40k, guys. 40k followers. It's insane. Insane. Fintan defends it with the other rook. Then he can still bring this rook. I wonder if he will double rooks. Let's listen. Let's listen to Fintan. The
Okay,
dog
hold on.
is also
Rewind.
there now.
Takes. I take. I don't. That doesn't seem bad. I don't see the problem right now.
Another rook lift I like
I'm not
here
gonna lie,
is rook to
is there a
c4,
problem?
because then you
Seeing
can
ghosts,
double
as
but
Danny
also
would
come to
say.
e4.
Arlo is not happy with that move. The plan is to come over here and then start pushing this and this, but I don't know if that's a good plan.
Fintan
There's
is
no
big
checks
brain if he
available.
doubles rooks indeed. Rook e7 is alright for defensive purposes, but I wonder if he will go offensive and
This is
try to
about
double on the
tripled
c
up, and
file.
we're only doubled up.
He should try to do that if he wants to win the game. Or now attack with the queen. It depends on where he goes. There can be
There's
issues
no
with
way
the
she's taking
pin.
this pawn. I take if I go here.
Queen c6 is fine, yes.
Can I do it in a better way? I wish I could. No, I don't want to be on that square. All right, 4 minutes 26. Careful. If I go here, takes.
Both of them are going
Queen
down to
pawn.
4 minutes.
I don't know. I'm getting a little bit scared though. I don't know how bad this is, but like it's still double protected, right?
Yeah, and there's a pin
here.
on the e-file, but so far it's alright. He just
Should I
needs to make sure he doesn't move the queen too far away. The queen is protecting d5, so there's no rook takes. Hafu will now protect the pawn, rook d3. Hafu's super focused. She's not even saying anything at the moment. Let's hear if she now will add something. But I think she might be concerned, and that's for a reason, because she's a pawn down. Hafu is a pawn down, and she's on the defensive. She's on the defensive here. Not an easy position, but neither it is for Fintan. It's not easy to convert this. He wants to push e5.
Don't know if that's
Logical. He just needs to make sure he doesn't lose his pawns, because that did weaken the d5 and f5 pawns at the same time.
Feels
But
like
if-
it's going to be a close game, as long as we don't blunder.
Yeah. If Hafu were to try to attack both pawns with queen f3,
She just can't take this,
there's
right? Like, I mean, she's not
e4.
going to give me her queen.
Fork.
Can start attacking these pawns, but
The article for all the PogChamps information is in this link. The format included in that article.
Whoa, that's a free pawn.
Yeah,
That's free
now
pawn.
he has to be super careful. The
That's
rook
free
is hanging
pawn.
and the pawn. The rook is hanging, Fintan.
Oh, getting into scary territory. We push this.
The rook is hanging.
Cannot take.
The rook is
Can
hanging.
checkmate, potentially, right?
Fintan,
Goes here.
the rook is hanging.
No, can't unless gets the tree. Not unless she gets the tree.
Fintan!
This is getting a little bit dicey.
Back to
Little bit
half.
scared. Oh,
I was gonna
Fintan.
go back to Hafu, but
What did I say? Don't blunder a rook.
she
I
was
even
very
pointed it
quick
out at the
making that
start. How
move.
disappointing.
Oh no. In a good
Oh,
position,
how
Fintan
disappointing.
blunders a rook, and I have my heart torn
Pretty sure I
already for
pointed
the
it out.
two,
can't
but
tell
I
if
didn't
you
want them
but-
to make mistakes of this size. This was a big
Something over
mistake.
here.
This is a big mistake. I
Oh,
wonder
no.
what Hafu says now, because this was a huge mistake by Fintan. It's a huge relief for Hafu. Huge relief. Huge relief for Hafu.
I run here and he
Is that Peter's emote? Yes. Paul Borta. Shout out to Peter Svidler, huge Hearthstone fan and 8-time Russian champion at chess. One of the strongest grandmasters. He also coached Hafu. And he owns the account It's Hafu on chess.com,
Actually,
as well as
no,
Gary
if he
Kasparov.
pushes, I go here.
Yeah, now this is winning for Hafu. So tables have turned from a position that was really difficult for Hafu. Now it is winning for Hafu. And that was a huge mistake by Fintan. I don't know if he'll manage to recover from it also for game 2, because after this I don't think Hafu will make any mistakes. It's a rook up for Hafu, and she'll convert it. So Fintan will need to psychologically
Could've
recover,
won,
just mentally say that
I guess I probably shouldn't.
the next game is a new blank page, and he should try his best in the next game. Chess is tough.
Oh, the blunder.
He's still thinking of it.
I just don't think there's anything I can do from here, right?
Yeah.
It's so closed. Alright, so this pawn's about to die. Can't protect it without really trading my queen, right? I can go up here, but then that pawn's gonna die.
That was a really
I don't
unfortunate
think there's anything I can do.
blunder
I
by
definitely don't think I'm capable of
Fintan.
like mustering some magic from here.
Unfortunately, he's right. At the level of Hafu, this is almost impossible to make a comeback from here. I'm sad for him for that big mistake because he was playing really well up until then. Both of them have been playing really well, and I didn't expect any big mistakes from either. Fintan
I
resigns.
can't believe I hung a rook after saying it. I'm pretty sure I said it, and then I just fucking hung it. Devastating. Oh, one blunder. One mistake.
One mistake.
I don't
and
know
that
when a game's going to
was
start,
enough.
so I don't know if we've time to review it. My fucking heart into 4 million pieces.
This is a hard take. The diagonals. Indeed, the diagonals. He did great. He did great. I'm of course
really wanted
very...
to get black first as well. Obviously it didn't go as we wanted in terms of whacking open into an open game, but
So I didn't want to cut him off, but I'm very happy that in this case, of course, it means Hafu won, but I didn't want any of them to make big mistakes. Like the result, one of them will have to win the match, so I cannot have both of them winning. But I wanted them to do their very best, and they were playing so well. This was such a high level game. It was such a high level game. I really felt like this is not how beginners played. Both of them were doing so well. This is like an experienced club player level, the way they were playing and not making any big mistakes until this queen and rook endgame, where Fintan has the upper hand. He has the upper hand and he plays e5, which is a risky move, but it's ambitious. It's ambitious. And after queen g5, he was looking at the pawn. He was looking at the pawn, that this pawn is hanging, and not realizing that the rook is hanging too. I don't remember now if he said anything about that rook or not, but he definitely then forgot. What did he have to do instead? The way to protect the rook and the pawn would be queen e6 or queen f6, but if you play queen f6, white can take and then capture the pawn. So queen e6 would have protected the rook and the pawn at the same time. And black is still better there. Black is still better in that position. Yeah, this is the two sides of the coin.
And so, he had the opening prepared further than me. I think, oh shit, okay. Email only, please.
Next game on, next game on. Next game on. Now let's see if Fintan, first of all, mentally is ready to fight. She's playing the same opening that she learned at the very beginning. Fintan must have seen this, and they played against each other. They played against each other the other day after my coaching session. They challenged each other. That was fun. They played this very same opening. Hafu's very focused, but she also has some killer vibes there. I like the playlist. She's so cute singing there. At the same time, she's very focused, and she was concerned about the first game because Fintan was doing very well. But I'm so happy to see that Hafu is not as nervous as in the first match. That's a huge progress for Hafu, the way she's handling the nerves. Because even when she was in a worse position in the first game now against Fintan, she was way less nervous than the other day when we were following her match. So it's a huge step up, huge step up. Let's listen in with Fintan because I'm more concerned about his feelings right now.
Not get ripped apart down the side. Usually when I don't get an attack on the queen side, this does not bode well for Finty.
Thank you, Dave. I'm happy if my pep talk has helped Hafu because she really just needed to get rid of that tension, expectations that were tearing her apart during the games.
Oh man, this is not looking too pretty already. Okay, everyone relax. Mostly me. We're just a little bit flustered after blundering our rook, and we need to just get our head back in the fucking game. All right, so why would
He
she
needs to try to get back into the game.
A few
Yes.
reasons, but I think we should actually just be a bit more aggressive and start putting a bit of pressure on her game rather than being as reactive. This works better when you have your pieces in different positions, though. But it should be okay.
That's an interesting idea.
Rip
Yes.
open these pawns.
Exactly. Normally we don't really want the nice
But
on the
again,
rim,
the
of
two
course, but here it's very
openings that we
concrete.
kind of prep for and hope for. And of course, we just hope for them, right? That's all you can do.
He just
But,
wants to take the
they're
bishop,
not
so
gonna happen.
Fintan does have his idea with that knight jump. He
I don't
now
think Hafu would want this to happen either, though.
has the pair of bishops.
Okay, so I think we're gonna go here and then attack the pawn.
It is the Clash of Titans
Here.
indeed, and Clash of my kids. My kids.
I can't attack that pawn. There's nothing wrong with this move, but I probably should just develop more. I thought I could
I'll
attack
put
the
up the
pawn, but obviously the
picture.
queen can just take.
My kids.
What if I take with this? Is she gonna really want to do this? Probably. Alright, let's just fucking get our pieces out in castle and stop trying to win the game with one piece. You gotta send the little army together. You don't send a man on his own into... Okay. This...
Exactly. You don't.
I've watched Hafu say she doesn't allow pins. She just whacks in the bishop. Okay, let me think. This square is fine now, right? I think we just want to get developed. Here or here. Do I care that much? I don't know. We're just gonna get developed. I don't know if I've messed up by leaving my bishop over here. Where did you get new flowers?
I did.
From the same place? Like,
No.
did they do a little
Aw.
more? They didn't.
Hannah.
Hannah used to get flowers off this old man in Bled and he died today. So sad. Like, actually so sad.
That's devastating. Book me on.
Fintan is so chill though.
My head's up. My head's up. The only thing I will say is,
Are capable.
listen, it's fine. We have another game on Saturday. We can still win. Watch what's happened. Okay.
Fintan, focus.
So we need to take this
Fintan,
first, or else we're gonna
focus.
get fucked up.
Yeah, the
Or else we need
bishop
to
is
bring it back,
hanging.
but we need to not leave this on the board. Okay, so they're gonna go here, and then that's checkmate. So
I'm glad you guys
Don't
like the
want
family
that.
portrait.
I have never played it where I end up here, but do I want to end up there? Then they go here, and then this is checkmate.
Yeah, let's not push
Maybe
the
I
F
just wanna
pawn.
put my
That's the
queen there.
forget pawn, as
No,
we
'cause then I'm
learned the
blocking
other
my
day.
bishop. Shit.
This is
okay.
a mistake though.
All right, this is
Hafu
checkmate
is
in
blundering
two.
the pawn. Now the d5 pawn is hanging. The d5
if
pawn
I
is
push up
hanging.
here,
She's
it is
hanging
also
another
checkmate in two.
pawn.
Which one is better?
Why does he want to move the pawn
Which one
though?
is better?
Fintan, this pawn
Do
is
I
hanging.
give a fuck about developing this? I think I need to potentially get castled.
The
I
pawn
can still
is
save
hanging.
it if I go over here, they go here, I put my queen here, right? There's not
d5.
going to be any checkmate.
That pawn is in the air.
I'm not going to get castled though, and Hafu might go for that. If she wants, she can sacrifice her queen and stop me
I
getting
know it
castled.
should be
Can I
normally
avoid that?
e5, but the
I
d5
can just
pawn
take
is
that.
hanging fox.
Everybody take a deep breath!
You do,
Get in the
Fintan!
Moneymaker Lounge! Where is it?
The pawn!
Where
He
is
took
it?
the knight instead.
Get in the Moneymaker Lounge. Where are you at? Alright, you ready? Alright, everyone calm down. Everybody relax. We're going to do a few deep breaths. I'm still potentially going to lose this fucking game, but we were panicking a little bit too much there. I need to get a Karu up here. If he gets me some nice pictures, we'll get him up there if we make the finals. Okay, everybody calm down. Okay, so everybody relax. And now we get to develop our pieces. Then we lose a pawn. No, we don't. Everybody relax. Do we lose a pawn?
Not hanging at the moment. Not
I
hanging.
don't think so. What's the time situation? We're fine. We're down a little bit on time.
Okay, now the pawn is hanging on g2. That's an
Alright.
issue because that also attacks the rook.
Where can I go?
Let's listen in with Hafu if she is thinking of taking the pawn. She is. Yeah, that's a very strong move because now the rook is hanging and then she can take this pawn too. Fintan's position is collapsing on the king side. Hafu is converting this very confidently. Just ever since that pawn on d5 was not taken, now she is grabbing the pawns.
Dude, my hands are shaking when I'm like picking my watermelon.
Kota, I know. I feel the same way. One eye is crying, the other is smiling or crying from joy, but this is so difficult for me. This is so difficult. So thank you so much, Spills, for the subscription. Thank you. We are so many people in our tomato family. I can't believe it. Strong move. That's a strong move, and then she'll need to castle. Let's listen with Fintan because it's problematic, the situation for white.
I kind of want to have the queen close by though, I'm not gonna lie. So once she goes here, takes. I feel like I need both defenders on it, do I? Or is it fine to just bring the... I'm gonna be castling, which is gonna give me another defender on this, right?
True.
Ah, fuck! It's probably not a bad move, but it's just a misclick, so it's just annoying.
Oh, it's not a bad move, so it's a lucky
It might
misclick.
be even the best move. I don't know what the best move is. I just wasn't finished thinking about it.
It's a lucky misclick when you
I don't
make
think
it
we
to a
needed to go
square
here 'cause
that's
the square
actually
was already
okay.
protected and the king
But
was
he
beside
meant
it,
to
so
make it to the other square. He wanted to move the queen to d2,
it's
I
probably
believe.
not the end of the world, but it's, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. At least I didn't put my... I don't know. At least I didn't like put my bishop here or something. Do you know what I mean?
Where did he want to click now? I'm not sure, but it's an okay
I'm not
move.
upset
I just
about it because I
understand
think
the
it's- If it was
feeling.
our original plan, it's probably fine, but...
Yeah, queen d2 was stronger because then you have the queen controlling the dark squares and the bishop controlling the light
Just
squares.
castle, I think this is okay.
But now castling, because
So,
Hafu
well, no,
Hafu is
no,
forcing issues a bit too much on the king side. She also needs to take care of her king, so she should remember that after the trade she needs to still castle. She should castle to make sure that her king doesn't get into trouble.
I have to take.
Yeah, and then she'll need to castle to make sure that it's safe for her king too. Let's see, Hafu. Now, king safety, king safety. Don't continue with that king side plan just yet. We need to castle, bring the rook in. I'm rooting for an Armageddon too now, yes. Because then we get to see them more. But yeah,
Can my
this is
queen
tough.
be
This is
trapped?
so tough, this match for me. I can't.
I just want to back off.
Why is she moving the queen? And she gets a little...
I want to castle.
Yeah, castling. Castling. Indeed. Castling.
Scared of getting trapped.
Oh,
Let's see,
she's
I can
scared
go
that the
there.
queen gets trapped, but the rook cannot attack it, so the move she's pointing at, the rook cannot do that. The rook cannot move there. Okay, it's good that she noticed. It's good that she noticed, but she's a little afraid that the
Because
queen
here,
gets...
just take it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Let's listen in with Fintan. This position can still go either way.
Potentially
Of course, better for black.
here.
Hafu has won 2 pawns, but it's not a clear-cut win. It's not.
Alright, maybe take it off
It's
instead,
not
that's annoying
that
me.
big of an advantage.
I don't have much hope, so I
No,
just guess...
pushing the pawn
I
is
don't,
bad,
like, I just don't know
Fintan.
if this is the best way to
Don't.
go about
No,
it,
no, no,
but
no, no, the pawn on d4. No, no, no,
there's
no, no, no.
absolutely 0% chance that Hafu blunders a queen.
The pawn on d4.
But is there any sort of openings there? I just don't know. This feels like a long road over to get these pieces over here. It's not so much with the queen, because once we move the knight, or if we take with the bishop here. Alright, let's just try and make something happen, even though
That's
I'm not convinced at all.
bad, unfortunately, because the d4 pawn is in the air. I mean, depends on how Hafu reacts. If Hafu takes the pawn, she's looking at e4 first. If she takes on e4, then it's complex. But she can also take on d4, and that attacks the queen. So the pawn on d4 is hanging now. Will she take it? Will she take it? If she takes on e4, this is still game on. If she takes on e4, it's still game on because of bishop takes. She's not sure. She's going down to 5 minutes. She's not sure. If she takes, bishop takes, queen check, pawn goes up, and then that is still not obvious, the position. So she could have taken on d4. She didn't see it. Wait, what's going on? Okay. Okay, bishop takes. Now I think she wants to give the check, but then Fintan can push the pawn to attack the queen. And
Check on here.
yeah,
Like here he takes. I take. Check.
it's true that she can still do it. It's true, but it's not the same position. It gets a little trickier. I think she's right that she can still do it, but it was simpler earlier. So if this check, I think Fintan will or should push the f-pawn. And he's looking at it. He's looking at it. That's a strong move because the pawn will fall otherwise. So f4 prevents the check by attacking the queen and my stream is frozen. But don't worry, guys. We will have new equipment soon. We are working on it. We are working on it. New PC. We need to have a new equipment for this. That's a strong move. Strong move. This is still an option though. Knight takes, but the position is tricky.
Just take a little check, Hafu. Just take a little check. Go on. Look at a little straight little line in there. Ignore my rook. Let's make a mistake.
Trying to bait her into
Obviously,
a
I haven't seen any
mistake.
Hafu stream, but my guess is that she hasn't been very nervous in this game.
She takes on d4, which could be a really strong move, but it also is now that both queens are hanging. So,
It's not even checkmate.
yeah, depending on where Fintan moves the queen. Yeah, that actually it's
Jesus
still.
Christ, I know, but they don't say anything about the game. Like,
Oh no. Oh no.
Hannah's 300 rated, okay? I was well aware of the threat of the queen, but like, I just obviously know that you're not meant to say anything.
Sorry.
What kind of threats can we
Oh.
cause? I don't think we want to trade queens. I think if we trade queens, it's over. She has discover check if I go here, and my queen is Gonski. It's just a tough situation.
Knight
isn't it?
takes d4 was a really strong move. I wasn't sure if Hafu
This
was
is
gonna
currently
play
not
it
under
because
attack.
this is insane. Both queens are hanging, and she had to double check everything that if the queen moves, if the white queen moves somewhere, then her queen, the queen on g5 will still be in the air.
Okay, we have 4
So-
minutes, and the game rests pretty
If
much on the next
Fintan-
move or two, I would imagine.
Yeah, if Fintan
No, I
finds
just
a
can't
good
see
square
anything.
for
I
the
know that I
queen,
need to get towards this square,
maybe
but, like,
here, then
how
attack
do I
this
do that?
pawn too. The
This
queen is
pawn
still
an
hanging.
issue.
Not an easy position for Fintan, but it's still tricky. It's still
Can't go into
tricky.
this file because I discovered check.
Bold moves indeed. Now Hafu played a very, very strong move. Knight takes d4. Your queen is hanging and she doesn't move it. She just makes a counter-attacking move. That's really strong.
Maybe
And
my
very
best bet is
confident
to go
move.
Here gets out of the discover check and protects this check square. Like I don't see like a multi-phase plan, but Hafu is gonna have to move her queen.
Yeah, that's a good square for the queen. Let's
Just
check
have
in
a
with
little
Hafu.
oversight. Just forget about the queen, Hafu.
Cat answered. I don't think she will blunder the queen, but it's still not that clear-cut the position. I like this song too. We're jamming
My
here.
knight hangs.
She thinks her knight is
Wow,
hanging.
that's such a good play.
Okay, now this is when you start seeing ghost. Her queen is hanging, she knows it, but she
my
also
knight's not
thinks
hanging. It's protected by the rook.
that's the
Fine
thing.
to go here.
She realized it now that it's actually protected. But see, this is how difficult chess is, that they start seeing mistakes that aren't even mistakes. She thought it was gonna be a mistake. It's not a mistake. Now she knows it. But if they run low on time and it happens again, you see these ghosts, these moves that are not there, but you think they are there. It gets really tricky.
Oh, he can take this now. Whoops.
Take what? See, I think she started seeing moves that aren't actually threats. What Fintan could do, and he may think about it, is to bring the rook here. Bring the rook here, because that threatens to move the bishop away and win the queen. That would be a very tricky move to play. Will he play that? The bishop is hanging. Bishop is hanging. So he should do something about the bishop. Rook e1 or move the bishop. But if rook e1, he threatens to win the queen.
I feel like I need to protect this, but that's just not gonna win me the game, is it? With 2 minutes
How do you
left?
know you're threatening to win the queen? Fintan! Fintan!
Go Jew. Go here. Trans this pawn. I don't see like much better. Maybe I just want to bring it back into the corner.
That's too passive, unfortunately. Then the black queen will get into the
I
game.
think keeping the diagonal on the board is my only chance, even if it's a very,
This-
very slim one.
This is really difficult. This is really difficult. Let's see what Hafu thinks about it, because I think now she has a really good chance to activate her queen again. This queen check is annoying. She's going for it. She's going for it. That queen check is super annoying. It's once again not immediately winning, but black's pieces are now really active. There's a full carrier in the chat. Oh, my pictures covering it, but there are full cards in her chat too. This is tough. Getting very tough for Fintan, and he needs to win. He needs to win. He's in a must-win situation to tie the score if he wants an Armageddon.
Somewhat on the wall here.
I mean, of course he wants an Armageddon, but that's the only way. That's the only way.
It's checkmate. Like, is there any way she blunders it?
There's always a chance, and this bishop, even though it's hidden, this bishop can cause issues because it's hidden in the corner, but it is hitting the b7 pawn. So that could be a secret sniper.
I just can't see, but I don't see it right now.
I'm rooting for a tiebreaker so we get to see them again, indeed. But Hafu's playing extremely bad. To be fair,
See Hafu. One time for the good guys. One time for the good guys. She's gonna force the queen trade, isn't she? No, she can't. She can't. No, she can't. I can just move in.
she
Oh, no,
can
she
force
just
the
takes.
queen trade.
She's about to force the queen trade, isn't she? Oh, I can't defend that twice.
The back rank. No, that's bad. The rook move is still
Checks.
a better
Checks.
chance.
Or forces the trade.
I think now if rook to
1
d4.
minute. I mean, it's a Hail Mary that I think Hafu will notice, but maybe she has tunnel vision on trying to checkmate me and we just get the counterplay.
Super difficult, but now also this. Oh, knight move. She could have played. Well, she still hasn't made the move, so she still might change her mind. But oh, okay, this way. No, this is good too. Sorry, I had tunnel vision now because I kept looking at the rook move, but this is a fork too, and the bishop is falling. Fintan has lost the piece, so he wanted to prevent the trade of queens, but now his bishop is gone.
It's just too obvious. There's no way she misses it.
It is pretty obvious,
There's no way she misses it.
but it's still a chance. Fintan has to try. He has to try.
Pawn, game over. One little pawn move and it's game over, Hafu.
Fintan will
I
resign
think we have anything.
if
we don't
Hafu
actually
plays
see
that
this.
move.
GG. We will fight, but I really just don't see how we can.
Okay, it's
do
good. It's
anything
good that
from
he
here.
continues. I always say not to resign. Although at their level, at some
Yeah,
point it does get disrespectful. Not yet.
All
This
the way
is
over here.
this is still a piece up for black, but it's not.
What's the
It's
fucking
not
point
like
chasing
you are a
this
queen
pawn?
and 2 rooks up and you're not resigning. I mean, your opponent. But for complete beginners, I always say not to resign. They are not complete beginners anymore. So they're. Oh, that hangs the rook. No, Fintan. That hangs the rook. Hafu. She doesn't take it. She gives a check. I mean, that's still a good move, but she didn't see that the rook is hanging. She didn't see that the rook is hanging. This is a winning move too, what she played, but the rook is still in the air. Goodness me. Okay, now she takes it. And it's gonna be mate next move. That is GG.
We'll give her the honor of the checkmate. Well-deserved wins, unfortunately.
Not the
Well
first one,
deserved
Fintan.
wins.
And the first one you were winning.
only
Well,
bet the
better
first game, the
position,
second
pawn
one
up
was
and
all
better
against.
position. So if anyone was winning the
Ah.
first one, it was Fintan, and he didn't
Let's get
realize
pushed
that
out
he
of it.
was doing so well in the first one. She saw it, but she gave the check first. Okay, then it's an even more
Yes,
precise move
oh,
order.
God damn it.
Wow, that's crazy. She saw it. Thank you
God
for the
damn
info on
it.
that.
Oh,
This
that
is
is
crazy.
amazing,
Hafu
crazy.
played extremely well the second game. The first game.
GG.
Let me listen in. The first game.
My second thing.
Of setting up for the Zoom call for an interview. But the first game, I was really worried for Hafu. If we bring this back, this moment, if it wasn't for the blunder of the rook, Fintan is doing very well here. Pawn up, better pawn structure. Still a lot of work to win this position, but he's doing very well here. So in the first game, I was worried only for Hafu because this position is better for black. A pawn up and better pawn structure Slowly but surely, Black can activate their pieces. But this is the moment, this is the exact moment where Fintan went f4 and blundered the rook. So that was a big mistake. And in the second game, Hafu had it under control the whole time. I thought this was a very clear game. The second one, the moment where it went wrong, well, actually no, sorry, it was a clear game after Fintan didn't take this. This is hanging. Once again, in both games there were e5 and d5 pawns hanging. This pawn was hanging, and had Fintan taken it, this is a different story. Yes, Black can try to get counterplay for it, attacking, for instance, the knight and the pawn, or queen h4 to get tricky, but I don't believe in moves like this. Yes, this is a threat of mate in one, but Fintan can deal with it multiple ways, g3 or queen f3, and then this is hanging too with a fork. So had Fintan noticed it, even in game 2, he had this pawn hanging. This is still, of course, a complex game. Neither of them have anything decisive, but they had their chances. Now, since Fintan did not take the pawn, from that moment on, it was Hafu who took the initiative fully, taking on g2 and taking on h2, and then castling. It was super important that she castled. Taking on d4 is a very strong move. When your queen is hanging and you don't move it. Thank you so much for the subscription, Hook TV. Thanks a lot for your support. The queen is hanging and she didn't move it. She just takes on d4, attacks the queen, counter-attacking the queen. This is crazy strong. And this takes confidence. This takes a lot of confidence to make a move like this when your queen is hanging and everyone would move the queen away. Everyone on the beginner level would be like, oh my god, I need to move the queen. It's the most important piece, most valuable. I need to move it. But she didn't. So this was a really, really good game. And then queen e3 check. She moved the knight away, and then knight d6 fork. Very well played by Hafu this second game. But Fintan should realize that he also had his chances in both games. Let's see if they will be on the interview. I wonder. I'd like to listen to their interview if they will join the broadcast. Let me see. Oh, show starts in a minute. Okay, let's see if Fintan is saying anything in the meantime. Oh, Robert is there too. Hey man, that first game in particular was extremely well played. You've got a good knack for the game. You just some oversight were your downfall today. Keep it up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my little heart broke. I was hoping that it would go completely different. I was hoping to like rip it open real early in both games, but you just played in a way that I didn't get to play how I'd prepped. But it was unbelievable. You put me under so much pressure and you deserve to win. I'm heartbroken that it was a blunder in the first game, but I hope you win the whole thing. Like, you're a great competitor. Oh.
I can't hear.
My chat heard it as well, but I can go again, no problem. My chat heard it as well, but I can go again, no problem.
Alright, here we go.
Oh. Okay, now they're gonna be in the broadcast. Alright, let's do this one more time. It's super nice, and she's super nice. They are my kids. That they had to go against each other. They had to.
Welcome back, everybody. We're joined by Hafu and Mr. Fintan. Easy with aces. We were just chatting before we went live. First of all, congrats to Hafu. I'll start with Hafu, actually. Anything surprise you about this match? Anything, what were you expecting? How did it go differently than maybe your expectations?
Well, people said it was kind of laming that we agreed upon our openings, but I mean, you didn't have to agree to it.
Wait, what? Whoa, what?
No, I was in.
He came into my chat. My chat, and then
I promised no tricks.
Yeah, we just said no tricks because, yeah. So I know you were trying to tell him to bring something else, which would have been fine, honestly. Like, it's a tournament, you can do whatever you want. But he came into my chat and he's like, "Oh yeah, we'll just play this and this," and I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna bring the Baltic and this, and then we can both prep."
Wow,
But,
that
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 is.
was very interesting.
Oh,
That
I
is
thought I was
an
going to be able to
interesting
rip it
way
open though. I'm not gonna lie.
I
I
mean-
thought you were going to play it differently. I watched a small bit. Obviously, I was drunk, but I watched a few minutes of you and Anna was showing you how to destroy me. And I was just
Not
like,
true.
wow, Anna's supposed to be my teacher. And she's like, I'm going to help you.
Was it
Really?
the same
And
line?
Anna
I-
went to
I
the
think so.
follower count and
I-
was like, like,
Honestly,
No,
good business
no.
decision. Good business decision.
yeah,
No.
good business.
no.
No, I
No, but
can't.
honestly,
I
no,
couldn't
I'm only
practice.
joking with Anna, by the way.
Hafu's
Anna's
defending
so
me.
nice. But you put me under pressure the whole game.
Hafu was
I
defending
wish it had have ended slightly different than me blundering the rook, but I reckon you're probably the favorite to win it. So I hope you go on and win it if I don't get to the finals, and that way I can say I lost to the winner and I'll be happy.
Aw,
But congratulations
you,
on the
thank
wins.
you, thank
Well
you.
deserved.
You played so well. Actually, no matter what you prep versus a line, if you don't have experience versus, or at least me, I haven't played against the Karokon very much. So even though I tried to study the lines, it doesn't really matter once the game actually starts.
True.
So I
So
felt kind of
true.
uncomfortable in the position. And you ruined my pawn structure. You had everything going. I think that first game was yours.
Mm-hmm.
I just got lucky. You missed one thing.
I don't know. I would have been hard anyway. Like, it wasn't super open and I'm not great at converting from there. But yeah, it would have been better if I didn't give the rook away. That would have been the pro play for sure.
The first game was definitely brilliant, Fintan. That was probably like one of the best games I've seen you play.
Exactly.
We're
You
very
played so
impressed
well.
how you-
Appreciate it.
We were. Every move we were thinking,
Yep.
both of you like played again and again, and especially you, Finn, in the first game, and Hafu, of course, the second game was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
It
One of
was
the best
very
games
beautiful.
in PogChamps.
Literally, yeah. Daniel went on this big, monologue about how it was like a brilliant game, and then like you pushed the pawn, and
The
you know,
next
just-
move, actually, I said,
Damn
it,
this might
Fintan.
be, I said this might be the highest quality game ever played at PogChamps, and then
Yeah.
you blundered the rook. The next one.
it's
So it's
no,
all
I
my
mean,
fault.
it's
Wouldn't be
crazy.
PogChamps without it.
It's crazy because so I'm gonna ask both of you this. I'll start with Fintan this time. You are right there with Pac-Man, and you've got a matchup coming up. So you either make it to the championship bracket or you get bumped down to the consolation bracket. So what are you thinking right now? And you want to trash talk him? The floor is yours.
David is such
I
a
don't
nice
mind the trash
person.
talk. We'll get to that in a moment. But like, I honestly did see this as a free roll. Everybody's been talking about how strong Hafu is and has been putting in crazy hours. Obviously, would have loved to pull off the upset, get the win, and to be guaranteed in the final. But in the back of my mind, I kind of knew that I had the next opportunity. That's why I wanted to rip it open real quick and just get our like kings into awkward positions. But it just didn't happen like that. But I mean, Pac-Man's good as well, but I'll shit talk him. I'm coming for you. One of us is going to be in the losers bracket. It's not consolation. Nobody wants to be there, okay? I hope it's you and I hope it's not me.
That was beautiful. And Hafu, are you looking forward to your games and then your subsequent interviews with XQC? I believe he called David Pac-Man White Shirt Walter.
Yep. He did.
I've never interacted with XQC. I have nothing bad to say about him, but it's more I'm just kind of scared. I hope he doesn't.
He's kind of scared.
I hope he's not too mean to me. But I
Aww.
think he'll do well.
I'm sure
And
he will
I have
not
a lot
be.
less pressure since actually he doesn't have pressure either, huh? Because it doesn't matter. Actually,
Oh,
it does.
that's the coldest shade ever thrown. It doesn't matter for him.
But I mean, it doesn't. It
More
won't.
excuses.
It won't affect. Like I still get to go to winners, and he still, unfortunately, doesn't. So
Well,
Nicely
obviously,
put.
it's
Hafu's,
less pressure for us. That's all.
She's so
what happens if
wholesome.
obviously Hafu's a strong favorite to beat XQC.
Trash
But if I beat
talking.
Pac-Man and me and Hafu were on the same points, or if Pac-Man beats me, does Hafu automatically go through because she defeated
We
myself
both
or
would have
David?
2 wins. So yeah.
It's there's a whole point system, tiebreaker system. I would love to chat with both of you like about chess and life and everything. We have to let you go. We really do wish you the best of luck, both against Pac-Man and against XQC for the rest of the tournament.
Amazing performance by
Thank
both
you
of
for the brilliant games, guys.
Ciao, ciao.
Flawless. We're gonna take a look at our
really was
final matchup
brilliant.
of the day. You know what? I would love if could they just have a rematch? Can they just play again?
Exactly.
I
Can they
know.
just play
Run it
again,
back.
please?
That was
Please.
incredible.
Please. I
Run it
want
back.
to see
I
them
mean,
play again.
wow.
I know my heart is torn constantly,
Amazing.
but we
We've
we
got
can never have
Wagamama
enough
and
of them.
Connor
I want to
Eatspan
see
coming
them
up.
again.
Who can anticipate how this matchup's gonna end? No idea.
And let
Yeah,
me pause
let's
the
take a-
audio for a second. Let's see if Fintan says any final words.
Why did I hang the fucking rook? Why did I hang the fucking rook? LaFox says great game today. It's going to be a great match against Pacman. Looking forward to that one. Listen, we were probably going to lose. It is what it is. I tried my best. The rook hurts, but it is what it is. I'm going to get out of here.
Oh no, I'm too slow typing. I'm too slow typing.
I'm going to get out of here, but we'll be back. Anna says, we're so proud of you, Fintan. You played amazing. Thank you so much, Anna. And obviously, I hope you don't take it serious when I'm trolling.
I know,
when I'm
but
trolling
please
about
don't
the
put me in a
coaching for
retirement
Hafu. I don't
home.
mind at
Please
all.
don't.
Next game is Saturday against Pacman, night before W Cube. Those are very good games, especially the first one. You can be very proud. You can win against Dave for sure. We'll try our best.
Exactly.
And in the chat for sure. I thought you hung a queen for a moment and my heart dropped, but it's all good. Alright, we don't have that many people here, but we are going to raid Anna Chess. Anyway, throw it back. I appreciate everyone being here. I'm going to fuck out of here. Peace.
This is gonna be streamception. I think.
We will be on tomorrow for some chess at some point.
Thank you so much to Mr. Easy with this for rating. Well, I'm watching him. I'm watching Fintan. I really wanted to avoid getting into a retirement home, and now it's streamception. Can you guys see this beautiful template? Let me just put myself on full screen for a moment. My children had to play against each other today, and my heart was torn. I didn't know how to handle this with the coaching sessions. I had to be upfront and tell both of them that I want both of them to be held equally. So when Hafu asked me about the Karakan, I had to tell her, okay, but Fintan will need to know it too. I cannot help just one or the other. I cannot do this. I want both of them to do well. I cannot choose between my children. And I was so proud of both of them today. They played so well. They played so well. Fintan, especially the first game. I don't know if you're still listening, Fintan, but that first game, geez, I don't know if I have ever seen a game of this high quality. Not this one. The second one was a bit worse, but not too bad. But honestly, the first game, until that moment, both of you played super well. This game was very high quality. Fintan here with the black pieces. The How many times does the raid go through? Thank you so much to Fintan for the raid. Is this now going through? I thought I already said that. I really so appreciate that you're not putting me in a retirement home. But what I was trying to show here in Fintan's game, he played so well the Karakan. See, I cannot refute the Karakan. It has no refutation. And you played, I think, the most critical line. I don't know too much about these lines. I don't know what Levy says about it or how you play normally, but you reached the position that I know from my perspective as a French defense player. In the French defense, we have this structure, but we have a really poor bishop on c8. And Fintan has already traded that. Now he pushes c5. And after castling, he's threatening the e5 pawn. We learned it from Hikaru streams, right? We learned it. Hikaru versus Magnus. e5 is always hanging. e5 is always hanging. But Hafu didn't know. Fintan did. He took the pawn, and from that moment on, here too, Fintan, super crucial moment. I don't know if he's still listening, but if not, do let him know. He was looking at 97. And that would happen, a blunder, and he realized it because then bishop takes, queen takes, and white will end up taking on e5 twice again. e5 is always hanging, and white wins the piece. So Fintan plays f6, and that was one of the best moves here to protect the knight and not blunder. That was so important not to blunder. And all this, pushing f5, improving the pawn structure, developing the knight, trading on c3, bringing the rook in. This was super high class chess. Excellent moves, protecting the pawn, making sure that you can double, then queen c6, then pushing e5. And here comes the critical moment. e5 was always hanging, but here too, especially the pawn and the rook are hanging. And had Fintan played queen e6, everything is protected. Black is a pawn up. You can then continue with further aggression, but step by step. This usually is the kind of position that actually needs a lot of patience, just simply chasing the queen away, improving the rook. You can double rooks later on the c file. White's pawn structure is also damaged, and black is already a pawn up. So this was a really good chance. For Fintan, this position. And in game 2, as if game 2 was that simple, it looked easy for Hafu. It looked easy, but Fintan, you still had your chance in the opening. I really like your knight h4 move. I really like that you go for the bishop. I'm talking as if Fintan was still here and he probably isn't listening to me anymore. But guys, tell him that he played so well. He played really well. 2-0 is not what the games were like. So the result shows 2-0, but the positions they reached in the games definitely didn't suggest anything. Oh, there he is. Okay. Sorry, I thought you were so sad that you left us. But it's insane how well the two of you played. And let me show you in game 2, in the second game as well. I really think this knight h4 is a great idea. Knights on the rim are dim, that's what we all teach. But knight h4 here with the concrete idea of capturing the bishop was a really, really good idea. And then you pin the knight, because you know this about how Hafu doesn't like pins. You put pressure on her d5 pawn as well. And after bishop e7 and knight e4, here she had to take back on e7 with the knight, but she took instead with the queen. And this was your chance again. This was your chance, Fintan, because this pawn is hanging. It's hanging. You take it. There's no check here. She can try to attack. She can, of course, try to compensate with some kind of an aggressive move for the pawn, but there's nothing concrete. She can try to mate you, but you can play g3 or queen f3, and then you're threatening with a fork. So that doesn't work, and queen d6 does protect this pawn and attacks the knight, but you can bring it back. It's not an easy position, so it's not simple at all. And also the h2 pawn is hanging, but it's nothing like the game where both of the kingside pawns just disappeared. Here you can... Even if here you would give up that pawn, it's still quite a big difference in terms of what the game was like. So yes, she may win the pawn back. But it's not the end of the world. You have a super strong knight that is almost giving a fork if the queen moves away. She's threatening to take and she's threatening to give check. So this is a super weird position. But I think even allowing that check on the back rank is not an issue, because you have so many threats yourself that a check like this on h1 or g1, maybe you will just say, well, it has to be calculated, but king e2 is an option to give up this and then see if there's anything. Or a safer one, of course, is to bring the bishop back and say, I'm threatening with a fork, I'm threatening to capture your knight, defend yourself if you can. So this could have, yeah, drop the bishop back, and now this is hanging. Black cannot defend everything. You're winning here. Of course, this is just an example. She doesn't have to play like this. But if she doesn't do that, you're a pawn up. With this beast on d5. That's a very nicely placed knight. And then you can continue development. Bring the queen out. Castle queenside. Or have I blundered? Not yet. No, I haven't blundered. It's a tricky position. It's very complex. But... the main point is that pawn. So you didn't have to see any of this line. It's more about just that hanging pawn. And I thought that you will take it, because I felt like the bishop g5 move was about weakening that pawn, the pin, and to try to weaken that pawn. So I thought that you had that pawn in mind. That's why it surprised me that you didn't take the pawn. And after that, unfortunately, after not taking the pawn, the position is super awkward in a way that now black takes the initiative and you can barely develop. And what happened in the game was, after bishop d3, this is extremely difficult, super difficult. Yeah, the tunnel vision, you have it on your board, Fintan. You have it on your board. So we just need to work on that a little more. And you let me know when you will feel better, because I didn't want to force issues since when you told me that you are not feeling well. I didn't want to make you feel like, okay, you need to train. So the most important was that you've been taking some rest and you try to feel better. But please do let me know when you feel better. The moment you feel better, we need to train again. Because I'm here to help you. I'm here to help my two children. And you can still make it to the championship bracket. And then you may face again Hafu. You two may face each other again for the championship. So this is nowhere near the end. I'm going to say it on big screen that these two, my two kids, will be two of the top players of PogChamps. You heard it here. Fintan, you didn't have to. I am just happy as long as you don't put me in a retirement home. But thank you so much for the 10 gifted subs. And these two will make it to some of the top spots of PogChamps. It's clear because both of you are so hardworking, so determined. And the 2-0 today is the result that's written, but it wasn't 2-0 when it comes to the games. It was nothing like 2-0. And Hafu knows it too. She was super concerned about the first game. We were watching her game. I'm very happy that she was dealing much better with the emotional part, because that's what my previous session with her was mainly focusing on, because she really feels the pressure, the expectations of being one of the main favorites, and that's what our session was about mainly. The last time I trained Hafu, the Karakan was in brackets. The main point, my main objective for that session was that I help her to deal with this situation where everyone is saying she's one of the favorites. She has that pressure on herself and those expectations too, because she has been studying so much that of course she wants to see the results, but she cannot have all that weight on her shoulders while playing, because that will make her not perform as well as she could. So that was my objective with the coaching session, the last one we had with Hafu. And with the next one for Fintan, we're gonna work on that tunnel vision. Fintan. So you let me know when you feel okay. And we get back to coaching. Anything to avoid the retirement home. Anything to avoid retirement homes, please. Anything to avoid that.